Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Favreau, and I'm going to redo a video I previously made but never uploaded to YouTube. We're going to take a quick look at Policy 503. This is the so-called mask optional policy the school board decided on, and ultimately adopted on June 14th, 2021. Now, many parents were fighting to have this policy completely rescinded, but the school board pseudo decided to advertise this policy revision instead. Now, all this took place 2 months ago, but the policy is still in place and still relevant to our situation. And considering Carl from District 4 of the school board has mentioned they'll be playing Follow the Leader of Orange and Seminole County, we now fully expect the mask mandate to come back with the option for parents to opt out for their children to wear a mask. So you can see how they play both sides, and it's always in their favor and always with our children as political pawns. Now, let's jump right into Policy 503, face coverings or optional face coverings. This document on the left is the revision they announced at the meeting when talking about making masks optional for our children. This came out on May 11th, 2021. Now, many things were stricken from the policy, but let's pay attention to what they added. Now, the idea with this policy, after all, was to allow parents to make their own decision for their children. At least that's how it was marketed towards us. Now, let's read. All students, employees, visitors, vendors, or any other persons are encouraged to follow the Center for Disease and Control guidelines while in or on school board property. The superintendent shall timely notify the school board of any significant escalation or emergency requiring reconsideration of this policy. Only face coverings intended use for health and safety purposes may be worn, so no Halloween masks. Now, this document on the right was released 3 days later on May 14th. I believe that was 3 days after the meeting, with more revisions and additions from the school board. This was ultimately the policy that passed and is still active today. So let's take a look at what they added into this document from the one 3 days previously. All students, employees, and visitors, vendors, or any other persons are encouraged to substantially comply with authoritative or controlling government-issued health standards while in or on school board property. Now down here, upon advice, guidance, or direction of state officials, the superintendent shall timely notify the school board of any significant escalation or emergency requiring reconsideration of this policy. Now, within those 3 days, they felt it was incredibly necessary to add in to substantially comply with authoritative or controlling government-issued health standards. And of course, upon advice, guidance, or direction of state officials. So now, reading this, I think of a few things. For one, they want to make sure they can pass the blame off into any other public entity or individual they can. So when you come at them for bringing back the mandate, they can just simply tell you they're just complying as they stated in their policy. Policy that passed. And considering how they worded it, apparently that means almost anyone can make them bring it back. And it's always about the wording, and that is exactly how they will manipulate you. 2, that this policy was never meant to make masks truly optional, because it certainly doesn't sound very optional to me. And recently, they are battling with themselves on bringing the masks back. That surely may become a topic of tomorrow's meeting. Well, actually, that meeting is now taking place later today. This is why I and others believe the policy should be rescinded immediately. It's not needed. Why do we require a policy to remind us that we're in partial control? Because that's what you're telling the parents. You may feel like you have a choice now, but look out, because we can always bring this back at the blink of an eye. Now, a few good things have happened in the last 2 months up until this time. Since then, DeSantis has mentioned multiple times that schools shall not impose a mask mandate, and most recently said, and I quote, "It's parents' choice in Florida, and government can't override the parents. And so we believe the parents are the ones that have the choice. DeSantis has also signed an executive order that will withhold funds from non-compliant school boards that impose mask mandates. Now, DeSantis also has signed the Parental Bill of Rights. Now, this provides parental rights relating to a minor child's education, upbringing, and health care, ultimately making it every parent's legal right to control that aspect of their child's care, as we should have. Now, I hope this video gives you a little bit more insight into Policy 503. So I appreciate you listening, and I'll talk to you later.